The Galactic Council's verdict was unanimous: the Volari were beyond saving. Their sun was dying, collapsing into itself centuries ahead of predicted models. The entire Volari species, 12 billion souls, had perhaps 18 months before their world became uninhabitable. The evacuation logistics were deemed economically unfeasible by the Council's cold calculations. Ambassador Th. Kron of the Commerce Guild delivered the news with practiced indifference. The cost of evacuating 12 billion individuals exceeds the economic output of 70 systems. The Council cannot justify the expenditure. One by one, species that had traded with the Volari for millennia offered hollow condolences and withdrew their ships. The Volari weren't warriors or traders of value. They were artists, philosophers, dreamers, beautiful, but economically expendable. The council chamber emptied until only one delegate remained. Captain James Murphy, representing Earth, stood slowly. "So that's it? You're just going to let them die?" Th. Kron's facial tendrils twitched with irritation. "Captain, humanity has been part of this council for barely a decade. You don't understand the realities of galactic economics." "I understand that 12 billion people are about to die," James interrupted, his voice hard. "And I understand that everyone in this room just decided their lives aren't worth the fuel costs. Be realistic, Captain. Your entire species has fewer than 30 billion members. You cannot possibly. Watch us." Within 72 hours, Earth's response began. Every available transport ship, every cargo hauler, every vessel that could make the journey to the Volari system was mobilized. The fleet wasn't elegant or efficient, it was a desperate armada of retrofitted freighters, colony ships, and even some old military transports pulled from museums. The Volari watched in disbelief as human ships filled their skies. Captain Murphy stood on the bridge of the UESS Endeavour, coordinating the largest evacuation in human history. His crew worked 20-hour shifts, surviving on coffee and stubborn determination. "Captain," his first officer reported, exhaustion evident in her voice, "the Council is demanding we cease operations. They're calling it financially irresponsible and setting dangerous precedents." James didn't look up from his console. "Tell them we're not asking for permission. And tell them we're not stopping until every Volari who wants to leave is off that planet." The operation became legendary. Humans packed ships beyond safety ratings, slept in corridors to make room for Volari families, and rationed their own supplies to feed the evacuees. Engineers worked miracles keeping aging ships functional. Pilots made runs that should have been impossible. When fuel ran low, Earth's governments opened strategic reserves. When ships broke down, crews cannibalized parts from their own life support systems to keep flying. When the Volari food ran out, humans shared rations that weren't even compatible with Volari biology, but human doctors worked around the clock to make it work. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. 16 months later, as the Volari sun finally collapsed, the last transport ship cleared the atmosphere. 11.7 billion Volari had been evacuated. The humans had lost 43 ships and over 2,000 crew members. The economic cost to Earth would take generations to recover from. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Th. Kron spoke first, his tone different now, quieter, perhaps humbled. "Captain Murphy, humanity's actions were illogical. Economically devastating. Your species may have crippled its own development for centuries." James stood before the council, his uniform rumpled, dark circles under his eyes. Behind him, the Volari delegate, a people who now had no homeworld but still existed, wept openly. "You're right," James said simply. "It was economically illogical. But see, humanity learned something long ago, back when we were killing each other over resources and borders." He looked each council member in the eye. "We learned that the measure of a civilization isn't its wealth or power. It's what it does when no one is watching and there's nothing to gain." He gestured to the Volari delegate. We didn't save them because it made economic sense. We saved them because it was the right thing to do. Because 12 billion lives matter more than credits or fuel or economic projections. James turned to leave, then paused. And if that makes us illogical or economically unsound, then I guess humanity will just have to live with that. The council chamber remained silent long after he left. The galaxy had learned something that day: humans didn't calculate the worth of lives in spreadsheets. And maybe, just maybe, that made them the most advanced species after all.